Imagine a plant so tough it can grow on a rooftop with no soil, survive scorching summers and freezing winters, and still offer healing power when you need it most. It doesn't ask for much, just a little sunlight and maybe a drop of rain now and then. For centuries, this quiet survivor has watched over homes, not just as a decoration, but as a guardian, healer, and daily companion to countless people across Europe and beyond. Its name may not ring a bell for most today, but its presence has shaped traditions, protected families, and quietly treated ailments ranging from stubborn skin sores to deep internal discomfort. This is the story of the houseleek, a humble succulent with extraordinary secrets hidden in its plump, green leaves. You've probably seen it before without even knowing. Nestled between old roof tiles, sprouting from cracks in stone walls, or tucked into a garden crevice, the houseleek looks like a rosette of thick, fleshy leaves, often with a reddish tinge at the tips. It doesn't bloom often, but when it does, a tall stalk rises like a silent signal, crowned with tiny star-shaped flowers. Unassuming? Absolutely. But don't let its quiet nature fool you. Behind that modest appearance lies a powerhouse of natural chemistry, a living medicine cabinet that has been used for generations in ways that modern science is only beginning to understand. What makes the houseleek truly remarkable is not just what it can do, but where it chooses to live. Unlike most plants that demand rich soil, regular watering, and careful tending, the houseleek thrives where others would wither. It grows on rooftops, in sand, on bare rock, even in the most neglected corners of forgotten buildings. It stores water in its leaves like a desert traveler carries a canteen, allowing it to endure long droughts without complaint. This incredible resilience isn't just a botanical curiosity, it's a clue to its strength. Plants that survive in harsh conditions often develop potent defenses, and the houseleek is no exception. Inside those juicy leaves is a cocktail of natural compounds that fight infection, calm inflammation, and help the body heal itself. For hundreds of years, people have turned to the houseleek not just as a last resort, but as a trusted daily remedy. In many rural communities, it was common practice to eat a small piece of the fresh leaf every day, believing it kept illness at bay. The plant was never flashy or dramatic in its effects, but over time, people noticed improvements: fewer coughs in winter, less stomach discomfort, faster healing of cuts and burns. Some mixed the crushed leaves with honey, creating a thick, soothing paste that could be taken by the spoonful. This simple blend became a household staple, passed down through generations like a family recipe for wellness. The honey wasn't just there to make it taste better, it acted as a natural preservative and boosted the plant's healing power with its own antibacterial and immune-supporting qualities. Together, they formed a remedy that was greater than the sum of its parts. The conditions people used it for might surprise you. It wasn't just for minor scrapes or sunburns. Traditional use points to something much deeper. People relied on it for persistent internal issues, growths like cysts, fibroids, and polyps, as well as complex hormonal imbalances that affect women's health. While modern medicine might approach these with pharmaceuticals or surgery, the houseleek offered a gentler, long-term support system. The belief was that by reducing inflammation and supporting the body's natural cleanup processes, the plant helped create an environment where abnormal growths were less likely to thrive. It wasn't seen as a cure-all, but as a steady ally in the background, working quietly over weeks and months to bring balance. Digestive troubles were another common reason to reach for the houseleek. Ulcers, acid reflux, and infections like Helicobacter pylori, a stubborn bacterium linked to stomach pain and even ulcers, were all on the list of ailments it was traditionally used for. The logic behind this use makes sense when you look at what's inside the plant. It contains compounds that soothe irritated tissues, much like aloe vera does for the skin. When ingested, that same soothing gel coats the stomach and intestinal lining, calming inflammation and protecting against further damage. At the same time, other substances in the plant, like tannins and organic acids, have natural antiseptic properties, helping to fight off harmful microbes without disrupting the good bacteria. It's a dual action: calm the fire, then clean the wound. Respiratory issues were also treated with Houseleek, especially during cold and flu season. Bronchitis, persistent coughs, and irritated airways found relief in the plant's mucilaginous juice, which helps loosen mucus and reduce throat irritation. Taken regularly, especially in that honey mixture, it was believed to strengthen the body's defenses, making it harder for infections to take hold. In a time before antibiotics and inhalers, such natural remedies were not just convenient, they were essential. People didn't have the luxury of waiting for symptoms to worsen. They needed solutions that were close at hand, safe for children and elders, and effective enough to keep them working, caring for their families, and surviving the seasons. But the Houseleek wasn't only taken internally. Its real fame might lie in what it could do on the outside. For burns, whether from the kitchen stove, the summer sun, or accidental contact with hot metal, crushing a leaf and applying the cool gel directly to the skin brought immediate relief. The sensation was similar to aloe, but with an added astringency that helped tighten the tissue and reduce swelling. Parents used it on children's scraped knees, bee stings, and insect bites, trusting its ability to stop itching and prevent infection. Even stubborn skin problems like warts, boils, and cold sores were treated with repeated applications of the fresh juice. The plant's natural antiviral and antimicrobial properties made it a go-to for anything that involved infection, inflammation, or slow healing. Ear infections, though delicate, were also addressed with care. A few drops of freshly squeezed juice, warmed slightly and carefully administered, were believed to ease pain and fight the bacteria or viruses causing the infection. Of course, this required extreme caution and cleanliness, but in remote areas where medical help was far away, such remedies were often the only option. The same juice was sometimes used for mild eye irritations, though this was done with great care and usually under the guidance of someone experienced. These uses highlight not just the plant's versatility, but the deep knowledge that ordinary people once held about the natural world. They weren't guessing, they were observing, testing, and passing down what worked over generations. Nutritionally, the Houseleek is mostly water, but that water is far from empty. It's packed with vitamins, minerals, and bioactive compounds that contribute to its healing effects. Vitamin C boosts the immune system, while vitamin A supports skin and mucous membrane health. Potassium helps regulate fluid balance, calcium strengthens bones, and iron plays a role in energy and blood health. But beyond basic nutrition, the plant contains flavonoids and polyphenol, substances now celebrated in superfoods for their antioxidant power. These compounds help neutralize harmful free radicals in the body, reducing oxidative stress and slowing down the wear and tear that leads to chronic disease. Tannins give the plant an astringent quality, tightening tissues and reducing discharge, which is why it was used for diarrhea or excessive menstrual flow. Mucilage provides that slippery, protective layer that soothes irritated surfaces. Every component has a role, and together they create a plant that supports the body on multiple levels. Yet the houseleek's value goes beyond the physical. It carries a story, a legacy of protection and endurance. In many old European traditions, it was believed that planting houseleek on the roof would shield the home from lightning strikes. This wasn't just a whimsical idea, it was taken seriously. Before the invention of lightning rods, people looked for natural ways to protect their homes from fire, and the houseleek, with its ability to store water and thrive in exposed places, seemed like a logical guardian. Over time, this practical belief blended with folklore. The plant became a symbol of divine protection, said to ward off not just fire, but evil spirits, misfortune, and dark magic. Some even claimed it offered better protection than a guard dog at the door. To plant it was to invite safety, stability, and long life into the household. This spiritual dimension wasn't separate from its medicinal use, it was part of the same worldview. In traditional cultures, health wasn't just about the absence of disease. It was about balance, harmony, and being in right relationship with the world. A plant that could grow where nothing else would, that healed wounds and soothed pain, and that stood watch over the home, was more than a plant. It was a companion, a protector, a living piece of wisdom. People didn't see it as a tool to be used and discarded, but as a member of the household, deserving of respect and care. When a piece was taken for medicine, it was done with gratitude. When it spread its little offshoots, those chicks, around the mother plant, it was welcomed, shared with neighbors, or planted on another roof to extend its protection. Today, the houseleek has faded from common knowledge. Modern medicine, convenience, and urban living have pushed many of these traditional plants to the margins. But interest is growing again. As people search for natural alternatives, sustainable living solutions, and deeper connections to the earth, the houseleek is reappearing in gardens, on green roofs, and in herbal circles. Its ability to grow in poor conditions makes it ideal for city rooftops, helping to insulate buildings, reduce stormwater runoff, and bring a touch of green to concrete landscapes. Its medicinal uses are being revisited, with scientists analyzing its compounds and testing its effects in labs. While it may never replace modern treatments, it offers something valuable, a reminder that healing doesn't always come in a pill bottle. There's also a deeper lesson in the houseleek's quiet persistence. In a world that values speed, noise, and constant growth, the houseleek teaches the power of endurance, simplicity, and staying rooted. It doesn't need fertilizer, pesticides, or daily attention. It doesn't demand to be noticed. It just lives, adapts, and gives what it can. In that sense, it's a model not just for gardening, but for living. It thrives with less, survives extremes, and still manages to heal. In an age of burnout, environmental crisis, and overwhelming complexity, perhaps we need more plants like the houseleek, and more people willing to learn from them. So next time you see a cluster of thick, green rosettes clinging to a wall or sprouting from a crack in the pavement, don't walk past it. Stop. Look closer. That unassuming plant might be one of nature's quietest heroes. It doesn't shout its benefits from the rooftops, literally or figuratively, but it's been there all along, watching, waiting, ready to help. Whether you need relief from a burn, support for your digestion, or simply a symbol of resilience in tough times, the houseleek stands ready. It asks for nothing in return but a little space to grow. And in return, it offers a legacy of healing, protection, and quiet strength that has lasted for centuries. In a world that's always rushing forward, sometimes the most powerful wisdom comes from a plant that knows how to simply endure. If you found this journey into the quiet power of the Houseleek fascinating, don't let it end here. Nature is full of hidden healers, forgotten protectors, and resilient survivors that have walked beside us for centuries, waiting to be seen, remembered, and appreciated. If you're curious about the plants growing in the cracks of your sidewalk, on old rooftops, or in your grandmother's garden, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on the bell so you never miss a story. Every plant has a purpose. Every leaf holds a lesson. Let's rediscover them together.